Hey everybody, welcome back to the second devlog of Abyss Runners. We're going to be talking about what is planned for the release version of this game and how it will function. Just a quick note, if you want to follow development for the game, be sure to join the Discord. It's linked in the description. And right now, actually, if you join, you get a special role for being an OG member of the game. There will potentially be rewards for that in the future. Things I kind of wanted to start off the video with was the dungeon generation for the game. You can't see it in game right now because I unloaded it, but it is a procedurally generated dungeon for every game based off a large tile set that our modeler Nico will be putting together in our mapper. Now, some people hear procedural generation and kind of get icked out on it, but there's going to be a lot of thought put into the tile sets and the way the dungeons generate so that you're not having a repeating experience every time you load into a new game or dungeon. There will be branching off into subpaths, like paths linking up, secret rooms off of connection points that have puzzles that you have to solve to actually get like cool rewards or whatever. And then there's going to be a lot of height layering so that if kind of feel like it's just a straight line, that's kind of not going to be presented in this game, as there's going to be a lot of just depth inside the dungeons with generation from the assets inside the room and then the actual room itself being unique every time. Some points on the dungeon generation is there is extraction points. So if you don't want to kill the boss but you have some like really cool items and things are getting like really hectic for you, you can actually leave the game early and get out with all your loot. But obviously you sacrifice whatever else is in there, potentially waiting on you, the boss kills, any crazy NPCs. The next kind of cool thing is we have a system being worked on right now where if it's night and just so happens to be on a certain map, then there can be a nighttime raid on one of the certain tile sets, like just randomly throughout the day. And if it's nighttime, the enemies will be a lot harder, the dungeon will be a lot harder in general, and they will have a lot riskier, or a lot more risk and a lot more reward for the actual dungeon. So you can kind of have random events that can occur to actually incentivize you to play different dungeons and whatnot. That pretty much covers the general gist of dungeon generation, how it's all going to work. If you have any more questions on that, join the Discord and ask them in there, any of the developers in there, and we can probably help you out with that. There's Kyle and Nico in this call, if they want to say hi real quick. We're going to be moving on to Kyle. He's going to cover combat, the combat section, and how that system's going to work. For the most part, it is very subject to change, so anything said in this video isn't final.
Alright, so to talk about the combat aspect of the game, our main focus with the combat is to not have it feel so dull. So to counteract that, we're going to be adding parrying. It's going to be kind of similar to Deep Woken in a sense. We're doing this to like we don't want players to be just like spamming M1 in the dungeon the entire time. We want the combat to feel more engaging. And obviously if you parry an attack correctly, you're going to be like rewarded. You know, the enemies are going to be staggered, which will give you an opening to attack them. We're also going to be adding mages, or like a mage option. We don't want to like everyone to be in a close distance battle if you don't want to. If that doesn't match your playstyle, you can be a mage. They're going to have spells so you could be at a distance while your team is up in the front fighting and you're doing pretty good amount of damage. There's going to be unique weapon abilities for like higher tier weapons. Not every weapon is going to have one. The weapon abilities could be something like a sword throwing out a tornado, knocking the enemies up, which would stun them. It would also add a little bit of range for that weapon. So we're just trying to like make the legendary weapons, the higher tier weapons, feel more worth it. Instead of just having better stats, they also have an ability to go along with it. We're also adding elemental chances. So going into a dungeon, already scaling off of your gear score, the chance that an enemy is infused with an element will also go up based on your gear score. What that means is there'll just be higher chances that basically the higher level you are, and when they're enhanced by an element, they'll kind of just do more damage or have a status effect on you whenever they hit you. So we're just trying to add more cool stuff to the game. And then we're also going to be having a primary and secondary equip slot for your weapons. That's going to allow people to run stuff like maybe possibly a shield and a sword. So if you want to go damage a sword and a staff, so you can be close range sometimes, and when you need it back up, you can cast a spell from a distance. So we're kind of adding this to sort of like you can have a hybrid build going on, just like however you want to play the game, you know, match your own play style. But that should be it for combat so far. On to races.
So for races, what we have is we have 12 total races with 4 in each tier, and there's 3 different tiers going up progressively. Each role consists of a tank, an assassin, a mage, and a DPS. And specifically to put this is a really important part, but the races don't lock you into a build. They just give you an advantage to building what you want to personally follow through with. So let's say you wanted to be a mage, you could follow through with a mage build and a mage race, or a tank, go through that path. But there is a chance that you could become a hybrid. You could be a tank race with mage powers, or you can be a assassin race with mage powers. It doesn't matter what you want to do, as long as you get the fact that you can be a hybrid and you're not locked into a build. Also, there is a chance for potential active abilities and passive abilities to exist for these races. So let's say there is some race that can double jump, for example, something of that sort. These races have certain abilities that can be used to help you enhance your build and really go for that thing that you strive for. Also, I wanted to bring this up, but for any of the people that are free to play, you can actually get free race rerolls through codes, events, things that go on in the game. And if you just don't really want to buy race rerolls, you can get them from that way, and it's a lot easier than spending money to get the race that you want. So over time you can get it, and those hybrid builds are really made for you. But if you really want to go for what you need, you got to get the build you want. But I think that's about it for races.
Yeah, one more thing about races is race rerolls you can get from grinding dungeons as well, from rare boss drops. So you're not limited to just getting race rerolls from the codes and everything we release throughout the year and whatnot. The only other thing we need to cover is the inventory and the player marketplace. So yeah, so the final thing that we actually need to cover is just the inventory and the player marketplace. They are basically hand in hand. So every raid you will be able to bring in a backpack, which is like small, medium, large. Obviously those aren't the literal definitions of them, but as well as a pouch. And the pouch, you can bring in anything in there, but it's more used for taking stuff out. If you die, for instance, with a pouch equipped and an item in there, it will be transported out with you on death, while everything else that you died with, say in your backpack or in your equip slots, then you lose all that. But you are able to keep something from that raid. The only caveat is that it is only a couple slots, so you aren't able to keep your entire backpack in there. The next thing in the player inventory is covered in the last video, but the vault. So it's a pretty major part of the game. Obviously, after you get out of a raid and you need to store your stuff, you go there, put all your stuff in there. But you are able to upgrade it with in-game currency, so you don't have to like pay to win to get a bigger vault. So if you max out your storage, you just need to play a couple more raids or whatever and get enough currency or whatever to actually upgrade your vault and store more items. There will be a Radiant Void pouch for early access players that is basically just bigger loot space. That's just for people that support the game early, whenever that comes out in the future. But yeah, so you'll be able to have a void pouch to be able to confirm that you get items out, and a normal backpack. So if you want to extract or if you want to complete a raid, then you get your stuff out of your backpack. If anyone has anything else though, I don't think Kyle has anything else. Kyle?
Join the Discord.
Yeah, join the Discord.
We'll be posting the codes in there when the game releases.
Yeah, and any leaks, tester applications, it's a ton of things that can go on in there. So and you get an OG member role. So if you want to be an early supporter, exclusive stuff, then definitely join and you can get all the cool goodies. But thanks for watching the video, guys. We'll see you next week to kind of showcase our early implementation of our combat system and our dungeon generation system, along with showcasing the spawn island it's going to be in a more complete state, as well as some animations completed by Kyle that are going to obviously tie into the combat system and any other miscellaneous stuff that we might need. But yeah, thanks for watching.